So, I am with Courtney Draper today, and she is an all-star at 8 million different things, but one of them happens to be selling real estate, and another thing happens to be selling new construction, which she is slaying it, just bought herself some new construction.
Bought it myself.
Yeah, sold several people. So, Courtney.
Yes.
You spit some knowledge today if I ask you a few questions?
I will do my best.
All right. So, y'all, Courtney Draper, EXP Realty, the Southern Realty Specialist team. Question number one. Does purchasing new construction mean you have to have a construction loan?
No, it does not. So there are many lenders out there who are able to help you out and figure out what works best for you, whether that be FHA, whether that be conventional, or if you're a cash buyer. But no, just because you are purchasing a new construction home does not mean that you have to have a construction loan.
So they just pretty much get a standard loan. It's just like buying a resale house, just the timeline's a little longer because they built it, right?
100%. That is correct. And yeah, we can get into that a little bit more about who you're looking with and who you want to talk with once we have those conversations and you know exactly where you want to be. But yep, pretty much any lender can get you into new construction.
Awesome. So when you talk about that, if you're have you run into situations where there was a need for a construction loan? Maybe if it's like a custom build job or something like that, is that different? Or is it?
If you're wanting to look more like purchasing land, obviously that's going to be a different process. It's going to be a different wheelhouse that we have to work in. There are certain lenders who work for that. And then if you're doing more of a custom build on that land, yes, that is when you would go in to have a construction loan. But if you're just purchasing in a neighborhood, like my wonderful neighborhood that I love, doing that, then you can just go FHA conventional cash, just normal route, just like resale.
Awesome. Well, that's cool. All right. So number two, and this is a big one. I've run across this before. Can I write with a contingency contract on new construction?
You 100% can, especially depending on what price point you're purchasing in. A lot of times people, if you're looking at a $300,000, $400,000 house, a lot of times people aren't, that's not really a first-time home buyer price range. So a lot of people are going to have to sell to get that equity out in order to move forward. And that's just a conversation we need to have up front. Can definitely include the builder's agent in it, just to say, hey, we do have the contingency to sell first. Every time that I've come in contact with it, it's worked out fine. I keep the other agent abreast of where we are, timeline of it, what's going on. And yeah, we just communicate that so that they know exactly what's going on. And then we can kind of work out your close date based on that as well.
Yeah, and I noticed you're really good at coordinating timelines where they don't have to move twice. They can kind of sell their house and nail it down at the same time, which is kind of the magic that you do.
That was a big thing for myself, was just we didn't want to have to move twice. We didn't want to have to go through that process. So just making sure that we align those times to where it worked out best for us. And, obviously if I'm doing that for myself, I'm going to be doing it for my clients as well.
Cool. Right on. All right. Number three, can I get closing costs covered?
So this is kind of a tricky one. A lot of times people, we go through the process and have that conversation of get pre-approved before you start looking at a house. Tell it to everybody who I come in contact with. Well, what happens if they've gone through that process, they're looking at resale, and then, hey, all of a sudden we found this new construction neighborhood we love. Come in contact with that a lot. So a lot of times what we will do is work with that agent to see if the builders would roll in any closing costs. Same kind of process with resale. You can always ask. The worst they can tell you is no. But in certain cases, if they won't cover any closing costs or prepaids, then we may ask for, like blinds to be thrown in, or some gutters or some other things like that. So it's kind of giving you a little bit more incentive, even though you're not necessarily getting those closing costs. But then if you know up front that you're going to be doing new construction and you're just kind of trying to fill out what neighborhood you want to work with, a lot of times certain builders will have preferred lenders who do cover all your closing costs and prepaids. So it really just depends where you are in the process. If you want to be in new construction, or if you have a specific neighborhood in mind, some will cover everything, or there's other ways that we can kind of go about it to get you some benefits from it.
Okay. And so I guess, a lot of people think it's the standard. I got to pay this price and I can't get extras. Have you found that, maybe builders don't want to adjust the price on a home for you because it affects every other house they build that's similar. But a lot of times they'll give you things that you would have to put money into anyway. I think you mentioned like blinds or maybe a fence or something like that. That's not necessarily affects the price of the home, but
Right.
a little bit. Yeah.
And I think a lot of it depends too exactly when you get into the neighborhood. Us personally, we were like one of the second people who contracted in our neighborhood. So we were really early on, and I already was pre-approved with my lender, with Amber Britton. Shout out to her, who I love and who's closed lots of deals for me. Because we didn't know we were doing new construction to start off, but we were very early in the process. So we were able to get a little bit of our closing costs covered. But then we also got the incentive of blinds, and we extended our driveway a little bit. And that was covered in the cost by the builder for us, just to kind of, offset what we were looking at. I think because we were so early in the process and can't necessarily guarantee that's going to happen with everybody. But just depends. Like I said, there's just a lot of factors that go into it. So there's a lot of negotiating room in it.
So if they've got a good agent like Courtney Draper, she just knows what questions to ask. At some point, you're going to find an avenue.
I've been through it myself personally, and I feel like, it is good when you can go through something yourself and just see it and experience it and, have more respect for the people who are going through it, and questions to ask. And like, I know questions to ask now that I didn't necessarily know before from having to fight for it for myself. So yeah, I just think that there's a lot of room for negotiating in there if you've got somebody who knows what they're doing.
And that leads into this next question perfectly. Do I need a buyer's agent on new construction?
Siri's thinking that we're talking to her. 1000%. Yes, you do need a buyer's agent, even when you are purchasing new construction, because just like that instance, there are questions that you don't necessarily know that you can ask, know to ask. And I just think it makes the transaction a lot smoother when you've got an agent who's handling all of that side for you, who's keeping up with deadlines and dates and, kind of helping you and navigating you through the entire process, and can be there if you have finishes to pick out, or, you're not really sure what to do in a certain circumstance. So 1000% yes, because the agent on the other side is just like the listing agent for a resale. They are representing the builder, not you.
Mm-hmm. And they're good agents and they're super helpful, but that's 100%. Who they're gainfully employed by, so you kind of want to do the best you can for them. Right?
Yeah, for sure. The agents that I have worked with recently, I'll give a shout out to Shelly, who's in my neighborhood. She is a rock star, and I wish that everybody could be as just communicative and calm and wonderful as she is. She is a great person, and most of the agents who are working for the other side are totally, but it just makes everybody's job easier when you have somebody representing both sides who's keeping up with it. And I can kind of field questions too that don't necessarily have to go to her or to the builder. I can answer this, and it just keeps everything way more structured and way more calm for everyone.
Yeah, awesome. And so, but wouldn't it save money not to not use a buyer's agent? Does that cut into the commission?
But fun fact, when builders have neighborhoods, they already have the other side buyer's agent commission factored into the house. And I'm sure that builders have different ways of dealing with that. If there's not a buyer's agent on the other side, I'm not sure exactly where it goes. In some cases, the builder's agent, seller's agent only get X amount regardless if there's an agent on the other side. So not sure what happens to the other portion, but they have already factored in to pay that. And if they're going in and cutting that commission out for someone, they're going to mess up the appraisal values in a neighborhood, because that could drastically change the list price on something in certain cases, depending if you're talking $400,000, $500,000 homes. If you're cutting out 2.5%, 3%, that could change it. And that's going to change the appraisal values in there. And why would a builder want to bring their average down? So it's not going to save you any money on these new construction jobs not to have an agent. So if that's a thought that you kind of have going into, let me rest assure you that it's in there anyway. So you might as well have somebody who knows what they're doing to help you out.
Right. And I think what people think is it's a house by house basis.
Yeah.
But when they're building these big neighborhoods, they have a massive business plan and a massive budget. And it's not predicated on that one house. It's built in over across the neighborhood. So it's not like they're dipping in one pot and the other. It's more of a whole neighborhood perspective.
Too, like in all of these neighborhoods, you have your kind of like a standards list of, hey, here's what we've got in here. You know, if you want to add some extra floodlights in the back, it's going to cost you X amount. If you're wanting to widen your driveway, it's going to cost X amount. If you're wanting to, you know, change from recessed lighting to a certain type of lamp over your formal dining room, it's going to cost you X amount, crown molding. So they already have all of this stuff factored, especially in the bigger neighborhoods, to where you know what to expect when you're coming in. And again, there's a little bit of negotiation that can go on in there to change things up a little bit, but they've already factored in all of these things for you. So they know what they're looking at. They know what their average home price is going to be in there, and they've just already accounted for it.
Nice. So everybody that's going to watch this is going to want to use you, and they're going to want to buy new construction.
I hope so. I got two new construction homes under contract last week. So rocking and roll. I'm saying it's just one of those things. It's like when you buy a car and then you start seeing that car everywhere on the road. I bought new construction this year, so I feel like I'm just really engulfed in it right now. But yeah, I love new construction. It's really fun to get to drive by and see houses start, you know, with just a sold sign on a lot, which is what the two of mine are right now. And then you get to see that foundation and framing go up and get to walk them through it at the end of the day. And it's just amazing. Like, it's just a really cool process to get to see it from start to finish.
So if they wanted to contact you or check you out on Instagram, how can they do it?
So my cell phone number is 205-503-3915. Facebook, I am Courtney Draper Realtor. Same thing on Instagram. You can, I'm probably the only Courtney who's spelled like this. So if you search Courtney Draper on most social media, you're going to find me. But yeah, DM me, shoot me a text. Would love to talk to you.
Right on. Thank you so much for kicking some knowledge today. As always, we're better for it.
Awesome.
All right. See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.